gonna go together just like that. But I should go in here just one hub. Normally I would throw some grease on this first, but this is just a mock-up. That's the wrong side socket. We're gonna mount this wheel. This. There it is. Welcome back, everybody, to Small Engine Saturday. I'm your host, Lord Duckman. We're back doing go-kart stuff today because it's been quite a while since we touched anything of this nature. Because, why? It's been raining a lot. Now, I've got some other things to work on, too. There's a generator and an engine over there, and we'll talk about some of this stuff in the upcoming future. The reason why this is all covered is because it was raining. I actually pulled the cord on that and decided to start, so we'll mess with that in future videos. But what we're doing today is we're trying to make a spindle from the big Candy Spider go-kart fit onto the smaller Coleman KT196 go-kart. And you're probably saying, hey, Duckman, why in the hell would you do that? And the honest answer is, it's because the KT196 spindle that's here is extremely weak. The little spindle stub likes to break off, the ball joints constantly fail, and if you notice by looking at the steering arm here, which is all twisted and beginning to crack, that these are not particularly girthy. They are just weak pieces, and well, they're prone to failure. So this piece, which comes off the Candy Spider go-kart, is much more durable. I mean, just looking at it, you can see it has much stronger, beefier parts. It's got bigger ball joints in it. It's got a much stronger spindle stub, and just the way it's secured here, it looks like it's a big cast piece that's welded to the spindle tube that you see on here. So this thing just looks much more durable, much tougher. The only trouble is, if you look at these two here, you can see that there is an enormous size difference. And when it comes down to these things, I measured the difference here, and we're looking at a difference of about, I think it was 2 3/4 inch in length. Yep, 2 3/4 inch to the top of that ball joint. So what we need to do, if I'm going to do this, well, we are going to do this, but in this video we need to shorten this down. Now, this I am imagining is probably a hollow tube. The ball joint in here does go to a certain depth down inside of this. I'll probably need a cut in the middle. Beyond that, it'll be exploratory. We'll see what's inside of it, and then I'll figure out how much further up I can cut. This piece here, the steering arm, you probably notice is the same as it is on the Coleman KT196, but what's actually going on here, this is a left spindle, and this is a right spindle. And you say, well, why is the steering arm sticking out, and why do they look exactly the same? And the reason is because the steering rack on the KT196 is forward of the spindles, whereas on the Spider, it's backwards or behind the spindles. It works that way instead. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to reverse spindles from left to right also. But in short, really all I need to do is just cut out 3 inches of it, drill out the holes where this thing is supposed to mount, and this thing should fit right into the KT196 go-kart. And you're probably also saying, why would you want to do that, Duckman? You know, this thing was working just fine the way it was, and well, the big answer is everybody keeps telling me put on bigger wheels and tires. And I kind of agree, because I want to ride on some loose rocks, which is like at David's house. It's like all railroad rocks in his driveway. And the trouble is, when I'm on the cart with these little 12-inch wheels, I'm so heavy that this thing will just dig and it'll sink into the rocks. Whereas a bigger balloony tire will do much better over those rocks. So the theory is here, going from a 12-inch tire to a 20-inch tire, you can see the difference in the size there, I should have less rolling resistance, and I should skeech across the top of ththose rocks a whole lot easier. So anyway, that's the plan for today. And before we continue any further, let's go ahead and take a moment to talk about our sponsor, the Hippostore.
The Hippostore is a place for you to go to get quality replacement parts for your lawnmower, chainsaw, generator, or other outdoor power equipment. They even have parts for some go-karts. And for the month of June, the Hippostore is running a special sale with items as low as $4.98. At that price, it's wise to pick up a spare carburetor or other part for your machines just in case. To check out the Hippostore, please follow the affiliate link down below in the video description, because when you support the Hippostore, you also support the creation of my YouTube videos. Special thanks again to the Hippostore for sponsoring this video.
On the big cart over here, I have other plans for this thing anyway, so for me to be stealing some of these parts off of here, such as the spindles, it's really not going to be a big deal. Because, as I said, I got other plans for this. We're going to gut the whole front of this. And even if I decided to put this set back on here, this set of spindles is actually cheaper than these. By, like, a lot. I think I can get a pair of these for about $100, whereas a pair of these is almost $200. So it's just completely ridiculous, the difference in price there. So, these here, I have no trouble modifying them, and I don't feel bad if I even ruin them, because, as I said, it's not going to be a big deal to get another set if they do end up going back on there. And in addition to the front spindles, when we get done with that, we're also probably going to make this rear axle fit on there, but that's going to be a video for another day. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get a piece of masking tape over here so I can make a kind of a rudimentary line where I want to cut. I'll probably start at the top first, right around here. And then we'll see what's inside of this thing, because I'm curious. Hopefully that ball joint doesn't go too deep. Alright, our official measurement here, from spindle ball joint to spindle ball joint, is 6 3/4. Yeah, we'll go with 6 3/4 inches. That's from the mounting location on the top of both ball joints. Looking at this guy, do the same thing. We got 9.5 inches. So yeah, that's 2 3/4 inches that we need to shorten this thing down. Now a piece of tape is an inch. I've had some people comment, no, it's 9/10 of an inch. It's always somebody, I'll tell you what. That's 2 inches. So right from the top of the steering arm here to the very, very top of the tube is 2 inches. So I could probably take 1 inch out of here and not hit the ball joint. But again, we got exploratory surgery into this. And then down in here, it looks like we can easily get 2 inches out of that. So somewhere in here, 1/4, or 3/4 rather, and then 2 inches, and the whole steering arm will probably move up and I'll end up welding in 2 spots. Yeah, you know, you can't build really neat stuff if you don't, cut something up and if you don't experiment. So that's what we're getting into today. Duckman's gotta ruin something. That's half the fun. Alright, well anyway, using a piece of tape, it's a real easy way to make a straight line around an object, including when you do a roof chop on something like a Volkswagen Beetle. Ask me how I know. I just happen to have done one. Okay, so that should give me a straight enough line to cut all the way around this. If I had a big enough lathe, I would just jam it in there and I'd just cut it that way, but I don't. Lathe is just a little too small for this. Alright, well, let's put on the headphones and let's get to cutting here. Well, it's a very good thing we didn't cut too much higher, because that ball joint actually penetrates in there quite deeply. You can see it in there. This is 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches roughly. Yeah, if this is 2 inches, then that ball joint is in there about 3/4 of an inch in, so I'm glad we didn't cut off too much more than that. And when I weld this on, I don't want to weld too close to that ball joint because I don't know if it has a plastic bushing or anything in there either, so we don't want to melt that. So I'll keep the weld as far away from it as possible. Alright, there's the other piece. Hollow the whole way down, all the way to the ball joint on the bottom. That's exactly what I wanted to know because I'm going to reinforce this with another tube down on the inside of it, so that way when we weld around this, it makes everything nice and strong. Alright, well, we're going to cut down here next. And who we have screaming right now would be none other than my boy. What are you doing? I'm looking at you. Yeah, I see you, buddy. Peanut, who is Biddy's son, who's just about as obnoxious as Biddy is. And you don't hear Biddy too much. You probably heard him a little. He's in the house right now, and I've got the window open so you can hear him. I also took his screen collar off because it looked like it was giving him a little irritation on his neck. So I took it off of him to let him breathe, if you will. I'll put it back on later, but yeah, he's shouting in the house right now. He's not happy with me. Alright, well, we're going to cut this through here. I'm going to cut off this triangular bracket because we're going to weld that back on later. You know what else I should do? because this angle looks to be approximately correct. This is the Ackerman steering angle. I'm gonna, oh shit, trees are falling out of the sky here and Cheeky's running around the yard. I want to make a line on this so that way I can re-index it when we put it back together so it's nice and straight. Alright, well I better do that first before I do anything else. I'm just putting a straight edge down the side to make all the difference in the world here. Just something like that. That's what we'll do. And you know what? I'll just do this. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Watch this. I'm the Duck Man. Alright. Forgot to hit the record button before I got started, but we're making the next cut to separate this steering bit from the rest of the spindle. Yeah. Alright, a little part in here that's really hard to get to with the saw. I might be able to get in there with maybe a Sawzall blade or something. Alright, I'll have to experiment with that, but we'll get it cut. Alright, I just tapped it a couple times like that. I didn't even stick it in a vise. And I can see that last weld that's on the inside there that needs to break. Well, there it is. Alright, that didn't take as much effort as I thought it would. Alright, here we are. This is the piece we're going to retain. We need to reduce the length of this still. Some 2 3/4 inches here. It might have been smarter to cut the bracket off and just relocate it. Didn't want to do that, but I think it would have been smarter in the long run here. But anyway, alright, I'll clean this up a little bit. We're going to take off another, it looks like 2 inches here. Yeah, it looks like it'll be 2 inches, plus whatever the thickness of my cuts are that I've been cutting through here. So, we might already have pretty close to 2 1/4. Might only need another 1/2 inch after this last cut. Alright, we'll be back in a minute. Alright, here is our components. They're going to go together just like that. Let's see what our length is now. 6 3/4 inches. We're not even pushed together quite tight yet. But to get these all aligned, I discovered that this piece of pipe that I had happens to be an exact fit for inside of here. And I mean, it is a little bit snug. I'll put a little bit of lube in there and then we'll hammer it through. But that should do the job. This is exciting, guys. This is actually going to work out pretty nicely. Yeah, I'll put that in there and I'll whack him in, and then we'll put this one over the top. We'll get our lines lined up. And then lastly, the top piece, which doesn't have very much depth before it gets to that ball joint. I did not want to weld that close to that thing, but I guess it's just the way it's going to be. I'll have to cool it frequently as I'm running around it, but it still goes on there. So anyway, that's what we got. Let's start beating it together. Alright, here is our spindle, and all I did was just stick it in a vise and tap it together with a hammer. That pipe is now on the inside of this, so it's all one piece. It's essentially pressed together. I wouldn't run it this way because I can actually turn some of the pieces. In fact, I just pivoted a little bit like it shouldn't be. There you go. What I'll do is I'll hit it a couple times just to make sure it's extra tight, because I see the gap is a little wide over here. It should be a little tighter than that. But let's get a measurement on here. This should be 6 3/4 inches, and that's our goal from mounting point to mounting point. 6 and... you know, we're a little long. 6 and 7/8. You know, that's actually probably in the ballpark. Just check this one more time. Six and 3/4, 6 and 7/8. I don't think that's going to hurt anything, to be honest with you, because there's not a whole lot more meat I can take off of this thing before I start disturbing the fit and function of the ball joint. When I start welding, I'm going to heat the thing up. I'm going to melt it. There's not a whole lot I can cut out of this before I start digging into the knuckle. Well, I mean, I could cut a lot out of this. I really could. But I don't want to dig into it anymore. And you know, I think 6 and 7/8 is going to be just fine. What are you doing, Cheeky? I see you. Are you chasing Mr. Boomer around? That's kind of funny. Anyway, looking at the two of these side by side, it looks like I have made a very faithful, yeah, it's within 1/8 of an inch, I can see it. So you figure to be a 16 plus or minus on each side. 16, I think that's well within tolerances. We don't need to dick with that. Let's leave that be. Make sure our angles are proper. That's how the two spindles are going to be. There's our Ackerman angle up front here. What I'll do is I'll take a little measurement on that, just make sure it's where it needs to be, because I think I might need to bump it over a little bit more. Yeah, might need to go just a little bit more. Otherwise, our angles and everything appear to be pretty good. Yeah, I like what I've got going on here. This is going to work nicely. The camber, of course, is going to set this spindle a little crooked, which means that this steering arm is going to come out as a twist that you see. So it'll kind of level that off, which is good. This one was that way, but it's all beat and twisted, so it's no longer like it's supposed to be. But this should be good. The only other problem I noticed, and it's not really a problem, but it is a thing. You probably notice that the spindle stub sticks out lower on the smaller one than it does on the upper. There's actually a 1 inch of offset between the two of them. So that means in using a spindle, it's going to lower the front end about 1 inch. Now you say, oh, that's kind of a big deal on an off-road vehicle. Well, it's not. Because when we go with the bigger wheel and tire over the 12 inches, you figure I'm going from a 12-incher up to a 20-incher, so that's 8 inches of difference. So you split the difference 4, so that means I'm actually raising it 4 inches minus 1, so it's going to go up 3 inches in the front with the bigger wheel on it. So this should be just fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recheck my Ackerman angles here. And what I'll do is I'll take a measurement between this and the spindle stub. Whatever that is opened up to, that's what I want to set this to. And that's where it needs to be, because I'm not changing the wheelbase of this thing any. And again, this just kind of needs to be in the ballpark, as long as it's not way off like it was from factory. Because this bolt here is where the steering knuckle was originally. And you see I moved it over about 1 inch, and that made it drive so much better. It was incredible. So that's the way this one needs to be too. So this will have to probably come over a little bit like that. Not quite that much, but anyway, you guys catch the drift. Alright, well, let's see what we can do here. Okay, I got us all set up with some water here. I got the spindle all pressed together. I checked the Ackerman angle on it. It looks like it's going to be right to me. If it's not, well, then we're going to cut it and weld it back together at a later date. I got my ground wire already attached, and if it gets too hot, I'm going to dunk it in the water. So I don't want to melt up that particular ball joint that's on the end here. This one probably won't get as hot. This one probably won't get as hot, but nonetheless, if there's any plastic components in there, we're going to ruin them. And I can't tell by looking. So we're going to assume that there is, so we got to be real gentle when we weld around here. We're going to put a couple of spots on, water it, and then resume. Now, here we go. Fun. The fun is back. Oh, yes, sirree. It's a 2600 from Atari. I think the welder's dialed in about right, too. So let's see what we got. This is going to be a slow process. So I'm going to have to keep dunking it. Alright, let's tack the other spot in so that way it doesn't come apart or move while we're working. In fact, it looks like it might have. Let me double check. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, Duckman, don't you have a clue? Oh, no. Oops. Ground wire came off, Duckman. You're not going to weld anything without a ground wire. Are you stupid? Yes, I am stupid. I'm very dumb. I'm the valedictorian of my class. Alright, here we go. Try it again. The water's already tepid. How about that? All right, we're going to continue welding. I'm not going to continue running the camera because the battery's already starting to run down on it. So we'll get some done, and we'll be back after we got some progress made.
1 hour later.
There you have it. All one piece, all welded together, good to go. I think the only problem that we might have here, now that I'm looking at these two pieces fully assembled, you can see that the axle stub, if I align it, is about an inch higher. But the other problem is the steering arm is about an inch, maybe even an inch and a half lower. So that means the tie rods may have trouble clearing the frame. So I might have a little issues fitting this when it comes to the tie rod stuff, but I mean, I could easily put a stack of spacers or something on it and stack it up a little higher if necessary. But otherwise, we have a working spindle here, and this is good to go, but I'm not ready to mount it on the cart yet, and here's why. Because when I mount a bigger wheel and tire on the cart, it's going to make it slower. And we haven't done our speed contest yet. So you guys, follow the link down below in the video description, go over there and post your favorite speed and what you think that this cart's going to do. Because we're going to be giving away some prizes, and we got stuff for that coming up probably in the next couple weeks. At this point, I'm just looking for a good safe spot to take this thing out. Otherwise, I have to reassemble that spindle. There's nothing wrong with this stuff right now, by the way. I don't have a broken cart like I did a week or two ago. It's actually a fixed cart currently, and it will work. It just needs to be reassembled. I just got to throw that wheel back on and bolt this all together. It takes about 5 minutes. Big deal. But I wanted to see this as one piece. And now that I know that this is going to work, the only thing that's left to do is to drill out the holes where the ball joints mount on the suspension. And at that point, this sucker is it's ready to go. I should be able to bolt these wheels and tires on using this hub. And the great thing about this hub, and I may or may not use this hub, I don't know. But with an adapter, I could put just about any wheels on this thing that I wanted to. Now think about that for a second. Any wheel I want to. Here it is, there's a hub. I think there's a 4x110 pattern, which is typical for like Honda ATVs. So I find four-wheeler wheels and tires and just complete sets for like $100 all the time on Marketplace. So I can get a brand new set of tires, a brand new set of wheels in good shape for $100. So I could easily swap these suckers out if I wanted to and go from there. But this is a beautiful thing. Plus I have a disc brake on here, so if I want to hook this thing up, I can. There's the caliper that goes on it. It looks exactly like the caliper that used to be on my mini chopper that I used to have. And it might be. It very well might be the same part. And if that is the same part, that means it's a very common Chinese brake caliper, and I should be able to get not only pads for it, but I should be able to replace the whole caliper. And geez, I think they're like $10. And that includes a set of pads, so it's almost silly to even change the pads out. Just buy a new caliper. But that's today's throwaway manufacturing for you. All right, I made you guys wait through all that work, and I thought that maybe I wasn't going to show you guys how the result was going to be in this video. But you know, not only do I want to see it, but I want to share it with you guys. So let's start mounting up this spindle on here and see how it turns out. Well, I guess we'll see what I screwed up also, huh? Here we go. Got to widen up these holes. This is like a no power drill. This is not my good one. Got it though. Here it is. It didn't even leave a burr on the hole. Okay. Yeah, I gotta get my good drill from the other side of the garage. Now somehow, before I even got started over here, I managed to get my knuckle caught on a little sharp spot sticking out of the metal here, like something hit it and kind of mushed out a little sharp spot. Anyway, it caught my flash and it messed me up. So I guess I'll live. But it should go in here just like this. The nut goes on the top. Is that the right size? Yep. And it goes on the bottom. This cart's going to be much bigger. I can see this already. Oh, that's the wrong size socket for the bottom. Let's get through that one. Pivots nice and smoothly. Here's our tie rod end, which is a little bit smaller than the hole that's in there. I might have to put a little collar or spacer or something in there. That's not such a big deal though. Right now this is just a mock-up. Let's get this nut mounted underneath here. Looks like the threads might be a little short on it too. I might have to grind down the steering arm here just a little bit. Alright. Definitely gonna have to play with the alignment too. It's a little goofed, but it works. In fact, its motion is even better than what used to be on there, because the old spindle used to catch the shock absorber, and this one does not. So this one actually has a little better clearance. Okay, let's put our hub on the end here. One hub. Normally I would throw some grease on this first, but this is just a mock-up. Get our nut on the end here. That's the wrong side socket. This is probably the right size. There we go. Good. Alright, and now our lug nuts are actually on here. That's what I did for safekeeping, so I didn't lose them. I already like this setup. Just looking at this here on the cart, it just makes the cart look more premium, I suppose, instead of the little children's cart that it was before. You know, having a proper hub and a rotor, a brake rotor on it. Yeah, let me back you guys up a little bit here. We're gonna mount this wheel. Look at this. You guys are actually getting a wide angle shot before I am. I have not seen this yet. And yes, I am missing a lug nut. That's the way the Spider cart came, and I got it. That's that one. Ah, wrong size driver. Man, what have I done here? Alright, here we go. Wonder if the steering is actually going to clear the frame. I guess we're about to find out. Alright, let's have a look. Alright, well there it is. It didn't raise it up as high as I thought it would. I thought for sure it was going to come up about 3 inches. Maybe my math was wrong. But here it is. Let me show you a wide angle of that. There it is. Now I do need to adjust the camber on that wheel, which isn't too hard to fix. The A-arms should have slotted holes in them, so I can easily adjust some of that camber out of it. Shouldn't be a big deal. We do want to have a little bit of camber in it because the way that wheel's leaning in there, that's actually good for it. Because when you turn, you want it to bite into the turns, and that'll work. That is amazing. Alright. Here's our steering. Yeah, it looks like we're clearing everything too. Really close, man. Woohoo! I'm gonna have to check my Ackerman angles with a piece of string again and make sure that I got it right. I'm pretty sure I did, but just need to make sure it's right. Plus it has provisions on here for a front brake, which the old spindles did not. Not bad. Let me show you the clearances here. And I see why this side isn't as high as the other side, and why it appears that the wheel is so cambered, and that's because the suspension is compressed on that side a lot more than it is over here. It's making up for the difference of that wheel height. But let me show you the clearances here. They go full left. Look how close it gets to the frame. You got about 2 finger width, yeah, maybe 1.5 finger width. That's a Duckman finger width. This way, going full right, I got about 1 finger width back here. So we got a little room to play. That's good. I think we're really in a good spot. I like this setup, just looking at it already. This is going to work out nicely. I can't believe how big that thing is on there. Oh my God. This cart's going to look completely different when I get done with it. And that wasn't even the intent. I didn't want it to look different. That's a side effect, but I just wanted it to perform better going over, you know, heavy rocks, like railroad rocks, and this should do it. I don't see why it would not. Well, we're going to have to modify the spindle for the other side too and get that mounted up, but that won't be in this video. So I guess that's going to be it for today. But that came out good. Man, I like that. Oh yeah. All right, well again, once we finish the spindle on the other side, then the goal is to get that rear axle out and mount this rear axle underneath that cart. Again, I have other plans for this. This is getting an independent rear suspension. So I figured since I got a bunch of good parts I don't have to spend money on, let's take them and put them on there. So that's the goal. We're going to build this thing up. And I think after that, I'm not going to make this thing any bigger. I mean, a lot of people have been telling me, hey, if you just wanted a bigger cart, why don't you get one? Well, I did. But the thing is that the little cart that I have is still a little cart. It only weighs, you know, about 300 pounds, whereas this thing is 700 pounds. So even though I'm adding a little extra weight to it, little extra wheels and stuff, it's half the weight of this thing. Half the weight. It's just going to perform completely differently. It fits in tighter places. It's just it's a fun little machine. Man, that tire and wheel's so big. All right, well, I guess that's going to be it for now. Yep, let's have a tour around the yard. Let me show you some of the things that are going on this week. Anyway, I guess that'll be it for today. So, licky, likey, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to plug that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out DuckShit.net for all my different social media links. And, you know, let's have a little walk around the yard here and let's see what's going on with them chicken birds. What are you doing, Cheeky? I see you over here. I let you come out to play. Yeah, you were squawking and moaning and making all kinds of noises. So I let you come out. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. You know, up front here, I've also got a couple other things going on. That convertible Beetle is gone, and the square back, the blue one, is gone. I'm still putting the suspension back together on this thing. I hurt my back this week, which has caused a sciatica episode down in my right leg. And I have just been a disaster, so it's been hard for me to get into certain positions. I haven't been sleeping well. But the best news is that it hurt the worst last night. And whenever it hurts the worst, it's always had the best day right afterwards. And today I'm actually doing pretty good, but I'm trying not to upset it. But I need to get under there and just throw those arms back on. And here they are, as a matter of fact. There they are. There's 3 of them anyway. The 4th one's in the garage. But I do have the set of arms, and they are ready to rock and roll. And the damn dog comes barking every time I come outside. We also have this square back here, which belongs to a guy named Nick. And I think I talked about that, or we'll talk about that a little more next week. But this one's going to get some engine work, and it's also going to get some rust repairs. Because the whole bed inside here is rusted out, not unlike my square back. Just my square back is, well, it's equally as bad that all this has to be cut out, but mine doesn't have holes quite that big. But pretty much the same procedures going on over there. But this one is going to be handled a little bit differently because Nick's got some patch panels and stuff he's going to have me put in there, whereas that one I'm looking for a truck bed or something because we're going to do a little hack and whack to that and get that thing taken care of. But anyway, this is 69 or earlier. I don't know for certain. I don't remember. It does have the earlier nose on it. This is one of the cars I was trying to get before I could get that one. And he wasn't ready to let it go to me. He just wanted to do something with it himself. So you'll see something on that coming up this week. Otherwise, that's it for now. Doing the chicken thing. Boomer's out in the yard being chased around by Cheeky, and it's hilarious. Every time I turn around, I see him run, and she's right up his ass. What's the matter, poor Boomer? Are you being chased by a girl? You being chased by a girl? Poor boy. Where is everybody now? Everybody go this way? Here's everybody. Fluffy's out, too. I let her out. She's way over there. Her brother was abusing her. He's humping her and just keeps beating her up, and she just squawks and squawks and squawks. Right, Fluffy? And the flies are back. Just as we thought they were getting better, they got worse. It didn't help that I stirred up some of the soil over here, and you can see the briquettes here. There's actually this chicken shit that's just caked down in the earth here, so I need to just rake it and stir it up so it gets buried some, and some of these flies would go away. It does smell over here just a little bit. And it doesn't normally smell that bad because they do a good job of scraping the poop into the dirt. But where their cages sit, well, it tends to build up, so I have to keep rotating these cages around. Cheeky's doing something. I think she's nesting. I'm pretty sure she's making a nest. That's what it looks like. She's been acting a little weird. Whenever she starts acting a little weird, she starts panting and running around in circles and shit. It's usually when she's about to bust an egg. So we're going to let her do her thing there in the hole. And if an egg pops out, that's where we're going to find it. All right, Cheeky. You lay an egg. We're rooting for you. Right, Cheeky? Cheeky, Cheeky, Cheeky. Can I see your face real quick? I'm going to stir you up from your nest. I don't want to do that. There she is. What a pretty bird. All right, we'll leave you be. There was scratching in there, but she did an egg. Nothing. Was said and done. Cheeky did lay an egg. But she laid it behind the wood pile over there, which made it really, really hard to get to. Now I got to figure out where Mama's been laying her eggs, because for about a week, she hasn't made any, maybe even 2 weeks. It's been a while. So I got to look around the yard and figure out where she goes to, because usually I put her outside in the morning first, and I might leave her alone for about an hour or so before I come back to play with her. And, well, I haven't seen any eggs from her. They're not in her cage, and where she does like to lay them is ordinarily inside the little nesting hut that I built for her there. She'll scratch a bunch of pine needles into there and build herself a nest. But this time she has not. There's Fluffy. All the girls seem to get along pretty well. The oldest girl is usually the dominant one. The boy is locked up because he's aggressive. He's Biddy's son. I mean, what to expect. But we got Biddy inside because he's been so noisy when I've been trying to record. But he's starting to do that same shit. So I got to put a squawking collar on him and see if it makes a difference. But otherwise, we did get an egg also today from Frosty. There's Frosty right there in the blue cape. Hey. And I see Stupid in there flipped his water over. Peanut, you're a dipshit. Yeah, you're a dipshit, Peanut. All right. I guess that's it for now. So likey, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that dingle bell so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out duckshit.net for all of my different social media links. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.